Welcome back to the Doc and Lefty program here on this first segment. Doc wants to mix it up about immigration, I guess, which is good. We don't normally talk to each other before the shows because
it's just unpleasant.
The hour together is so taxing on both of us that we're like football players. We need the full week to recover, watch some game film.
Well, hold on. For me, it's like football playing because I played rugby, but for you, it's like being part of the pep band.
Sure.
Because I was talking to a friend of mine who apparently knows you.
Oh, yeah?
And, told me all about your pep band rallies and stuff like that.
I was in the marching band at the University of Iowa for 4 years. I played in the pep band at basketball games and wrestling duels and stuff. It was awesome.
It is awesome.
I learned...
You get into the games free.
You do? I got to spend my 4 years of college going to every single Iowa home game, and for my beloved Iowa Hawkeyes who are playing in the Rose Bowl on the 1st of January. Listen, let's talk about the Hawkeye football for the next hour and a half because
we could. I'm going to tell you this. Now my dad's listening, and my brother Joe says currently the only pain he has is listening to you, so he's good. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. So
we both know that you think that my voice is amazing, Joe Jr.
Yes, absolutely. My dad took us out to the Rose Bowl, and this was a year that Ronnie Harmon was playing. And I remember the seats that we had, we could clearly see the end zone and everything else. And I kid you not, and I'm saying this out loud, and I swear to God, which is a big deal for me because I don't ever do that. But I'm swearing to God at this moment, Ronnie Harmon, because I'm here to maybe a little bit past Maddie from this play. He has that ball in his hands, and he does that. I kid you not. And the problem is the replays that they have don't have the angle that I was at, but he had that ball cradled, and then he just I don't know. I can't tell you if it was purposeful or not, but this is what he did.
That's been the biggest rumor / conspiracy about that team. That team had Chuck Long. That team was one of the best Hawkeye teams in history up until this one. That went 12-0.
Yeah.
Before I was heartbroken.
It was devastating. Well, and I even recall my dad going, he did that on purpose. He did that on purpose. That's now, Dad, if I'm remembering that incorrectly, just tell Joe and he'll text me. But that's honest to God, that's what happened. And then Ronnie Harmon then had problems later in the pros with game fixing.
Hadn't fumbled all year.
Yep. And boom, there you go.
Yep.
So anyway, well, let's get on to another big fumble, and that's immigration and the presidential response to the Syrian crisis. Do you want to take the lead on this, or do you want...
I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Well, strangely enough, I'm going to
like to defer.
All right. I'm going to receive then. I was talking to a liberal yesterday that I respect quite a bit. She's got a great mind. And we had a discussion about this. And first of all, I'm just going to say it's very rare I agree with President Obama, but I do agree. He gave a great speech today. Did you see that about immigration? He gave a great speech today that says, listen, we're built on immigration. That's what makes us great. That's what makes us invigorated. I agree 100%. He got up there and said, listen, the Irish came, the Catholics came, the Jews came. Everybody has come to our country to help us build it. And I agree with that. I believe we get a lot of innovation from immigration. I believe that. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that we should have a policy like we have currently where people that want to come and be part of our experience are so limited. We've had that talk before. Here's the issue that I have. And Donald Trump brought this up. Hey, listen, if I'm president, I'm going to start restricting people that can come into the country until we get a system, essentially, until we get a system where we can properly vet them. That's essentially what he said. And I would have a tendency to agree. We're the Syrian refugees, I really don't have a problem with. The problem I have is the area they're coming from is filled with ISIS agents. And if you let just one through and they create havoc, it's the innocent people that pay the price. And just like I saw an article, I think it was yesterday in ABC and Fox News, both carry an article that says when you're going through a visa process, you're not allowed to look at social media. That's a secret rule or something like that. And I'm like, well, hold on. That's where these whack jobs live. They live out there. They do this stuff. So why can't we at least take a look? So I'm sitting here thinking, until we get, our vetting process much more secure, then I think that the president not only has the ability, but the obligation to start restricting who we accept. That's my position. I'm expecting a response. It's going to be
the president certainly has the authority to instruct which sorts of visas are given priority and what sort over entry and classifications and different things like that. But I guess. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
No, I think he's got the authority, and we've done it before.
Well, Congress
should we be doing it now?
Congress has got the ultimate authority over immigration policy, obviously, and that's sort of how it's been set up. And Congress is paralyzed to do anything, I guess.
Well, should the president do something like FDR has done and other presidents have done, where they actually restrict immigration from certain areas?
Yeah, well, those were from states that we were at war with, and we're not
at war with ISIS.
ISIS isn't a state.
Well, they think they're a state.
That doesn't matter, and they're not trying to immigrate here. They might try. It's like, here's the false equivalency that you're reaching to. We were at war with Japan in the 40s, and FDR Franklin Roosevelt took certain steps designed to limit the possible threat of Japanese agents infiltrating the country. One of those things that he did was set up internment camps and imprisoned American citizens of Japanese descent all over the country. We've since apologized. In fact, I think your buddy Ronald Reagan apologized for those practices in the 80s, like 1986 or 1987 or something like that. That was a mistake. During the Vietnam War, we accepted thousands and thousands of Vietnamese refugees that were fleeing the violence and fleeing the Viet Cong. With appropriate safeguards in place, one would assume I don't know. You would do better than I whether or not there was a lot of Vietnamese-inspired terrorism during the Vietnam War here on the homeland, related back to the Viet Cong.
I don't recall any of that.
We've had instances. I think the one that's really popular right now is about Jimmy Carter restricting visas and restricting reapplication for Iranian citizens after the Iranian hostage crisis. Once again, that became a that we didn't have ties with. The entire nation kind of revolted in a certain way against us, and set up a policy of taking Americans prisoner. I don't know that was necessarily the best plan, but it was a part of a overall omnibus sanctions package. That was one of the things. And so when you talk about what the president should or shouldn't do, you hear reports, and this is what this is probably going to devolve to, is us just disagreeing over the accuracy of the reporting that we've read.
Well, let's wait until after the break, and then because one of the things that people keep leaving out of this is a lot of these areas that ISIL is now operating in are places where Americans had operated and do have bases. We'll talk about the dangers of that right after this break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.